UFC Singapore. These are the full card predictions and the betting breakdown. Main event, Max Holloway versus the Korean zombie Chan Sung Jung. I'm looking forward to this card, and I also want to give you guys a special thank you. We passed 20,000 subscribers during the Fight Companion for UFC 292. Was an epic night, actually a record-breaking Fight Companion. Hit over 1,000 likes, which had never been done before. Looking forward to more successes like that, and I really have a lot of love for everybody who supports the channel. Thank you all so much. Make sure you guys smash that like button here. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn the post notifications on, and make sure to share the video as well. And also note, Fight Companion, UFC Singapore, 5 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday. I'll be here for the entire card early in the morning, so make sure you guys tune into that. And let's get into the fights. Starting it off, we have Seung Choi versus Jarno Errens. I'm picking Seung Choi to win this fight. I believe that Choi is the slightly better kickboxer, and he does have heavier power in his hands. I think the UFC experience is also going to come in handy. Choi's been in there with some pretty decent opposition. I mean, he dropped Alex Caceres, and, you know, if he didn't throw that illegal knee strike, potentially could have got a TKO win there. Knockout over Julian Erosa. He's done good work against decent opposition. Obviously, riding some losses. Mike Trizano fucked him up bad in the last one. And then Josh Kulabeau and him was a thin, close split decision. It was a competitive fight, and then you see the Caceres loss there. Erin's side, he fought William Gomis, and he was competitive in a loss on the cards in that fight. He dug to the body fairly well. His striking is decent. He was on his back in moments of that fight. I just think Seung Choi is a legit step up in competition for Errens after losing to William Gomis, regardless of Choi being on a 3-fight losing streak. I think he snaps the streak. He's still a young enough guy. He's not even 31 yet. I don't believe Errens is going to have the tools to beat a Seung Choi. I think that Errens does have pretty decent durability, though. Choi hits with some power, but I feel like we have a potentially long fight. Decision win over Youssef Zalal, and then obviously the Erosa knockout. So it's been 2 years since Choi has won. I expect him to be a bit calculated and cautious in this matchup against Errens, but I do think he's going to end up winning it. So I'm going Choi on the judges' scorecards. I think he'll win a decision. He's around minus 192, so nearly a 2-to-1 favorite here. Errens at plus 167 as the dog. I like the favorite, Choi, to win. I think he can beat, the guy with less UFC experience in Errens. Though I'll give respect to Errens. He was fighting at a pretty solid level throughout the European circuit. But I think Choi's still a gamer. He's a high-tier striker. He's got good experience in Muay Thai. And I think that his stand-up game is a difference maker here against Errens. And I also think in the grappling he could look good. Give me Choi for the win. I'll say he gets a decision in this matchup here. Next fight on the card, we have Liang versus JJ Aldrich. I'm going to pick JJ Aldrich here, but the odds are disgustingly wide. Aldrich is like a line as if she was straight out of Dagestan, like a Nurmagomedov in his prime type wide line, like as if Chimaev was fighting Liang. I'm seeing minus 600, minus 700 range for Aldrich. That's mind-boggling to me looking at the line, but I'm picking the fight as I see it. I think that Aldrich is going to be able to win the fight here. She probably is successful in some of her takedown attempts. I think in the stand-up it's fairly competitive. Liang will look to throw heavy. And she does have a bit of sting, and she'll come out throwing chaotically wild and putting everything into her shots. And that is going to put her in bad positions. She seems like she's still a little bit untamed. Liang, I'd say, is a bit of an awkward striker who does have, pretty crazy blitzes, but the chin is up, and it looks horrible as far as technicality goes at times on the feet. Aldrich, by no means, is a glory kickboxing champion in the stand-up, but she's competent with her kickboxing. She has well-timed takedowns. She's a well-versed mixed martial artist. She works well in the clinch with her trips. I think she controls Liang from top a bit. I think she can get off a bit of ground and pound. In the striking, I can see Aldrich having moments. I mean, if you dig into Liang's UFC opponents, Ariane Carnelosi and Silvana Gomez-Juarez, JJ Aldrich is the best girl she's fought so far. This is a step up in competition for Na Liang, and she didn't look very good in either one of these fights. I mean, she showed some dog in her against Carnelosi, but like wild and reckless dog type of striker. I'm going Aldrich for the win. The odds are really damn wide here. It's like one of those situations with a women's fight where if you're locking the parlay in or something, if you're on the betting side and you're locking a parlay down with Aldrich as the staple of it, I think you're looking to put yourself in a bad spot. Because, I mean, Liang could still crack her with some heavy punches and get some weird stoppage with her awkward style. But realistically, Aldrich is clearly the better fighter on paper. And I think she is going to be able to perform and win. I am going to say decision, though. Aldrich is not a finisher, like, at all. She's a decisionator. And I think she can get a decision here. I mean, if you look at a decision win, Jillian Robertson decision wins a pretty nice, pretty nice win to have, I'll say at this point. Erin Blanchfield lost. There's no shame. Ariane Lipsky lost. There's really no shame in a step down in competition. So Aldrich should definitely get it done, but ludicrous lines here for this fight. Next fight on the card, we got Yusaku Kinoshita versus Billy Goff. Listen, Kinoshita is like a villain. He looks like a damn villain when he fights. He's a dangerous striker who throws a lot of power. He confidently moves forward on his opponents, and he's willing to take some shots to land his own. Got him in trouble against Adam Fugit, and he looked kind of terrible on the ground in that fight. Billy Goff is a hittable guy. He's been dropped in fights that he's won before, not only on Contender Series last time out with Shimatrowski, I believe, the Jewish fighter that recently beat up an internet troll, but he also got dropped bad on the regional scene. He's a guy that gets hit because his striking is quite reckless and I would say sloppy at points because he looks to throw fire at his opponents, but not always setting the strikes up properly. Kinoshita, I think, is the better technical kickboxer. He's the heavier puncher of the two. It's ultimately going to come down to this. Kinoshita not be put in bad spots on the ground. Has he, maybe worked on a few of those wrinkles that were potentially lacking against Fugit from bottom position? I think that Goff also doesn't have the same presence as a Fugit will inside of the cage here. I think he's going to end up getting caught, man. I think Billy Goff is going to get knocked out here. Kinoshita by violence. I believed in Kinoshita coming off the Contender Series. Obviously a hiccup with Adam Fugit at 23. Quite forgivable. I think Kinoshita gets a knockout win against another young fighter in Billy Goff here. I think he probably gets it done with the hands. He closes the gap well and throws heavies. And if Billy Goff attempts to brawl with Kinoshita, which I do believe he's going to, he's going to end up getting knocked out here. I see a first-round knockout, actually, for Kinoshita. Close line, near even money, minus 138 for Kinoshita. Billy Goff at plus 118. I like Kinoshita for the win. I'm calling a knockout victory for him. I think he's sleeping Billy Goff here. Goff was hurt bad in the last fight, and I think Kinoshita can hurt him bad and actually finish the job. Next fight on the card, we have Kenan Seung versus Rolando Bedoya. I'm picking Rolando Bedoya in this fight. I'm excited to see him go out there because he really could have gotten the Chaos Williams decision, and he was a big underdog in that fight. And, not a lot of people, including me, thought he had much of a chance there, and damn, did he prove everybody wrong. And now they give him Kenan Seung, who's got back-to-back knockout losses, 33. Bedoya's a lot younger. I think he's going to be nasty on the feet, more technical in the striking. I also think he's just meaner. He's a nastier fighter. He'll find shots on the inside. I think he'll walk Kenan Seung down and be finding big bombs. I think Seung is going to look to throw heavy power. I mean, he's, kind of riding a little bit of a high, even though he lost to Ian Gary. He dropped him, which now Gary getting a huge win over Neil Magny on Saturday. I guess it looks a little better for Kenan Seung's last fight being, against a Gary who's now ranked, I believe, in the top 15, at least coming on Monday. But it doesn't matter. Bedoya is younger. He's more powerful. He's the more fluid and technical striker. He's got good 1-2s. He switches up his stance as well. He's a striking flow type of guy. He flows in the stand-up, strings his shots together well, and looks super comfortable. He's not fearful of big shots by Chaos Williams, and he's rolling with strikes well, and he's got a chin on him. I think he's going to make, fairly light work of Kenan Seung. I'm seeing a knockout win. I think it could be a first or second round KO for Bedoya here. I think he's going to do some damage to Kenan Seung. Looking at the odds, plus 225 for the side of Kenan Seung. Bedoya, a minus 265 favorite. So the young Bedoya in loss against Chaos Williams, for me and probably everybody, and especially the bookies, his stock has jumped up a lot because he's a dangerous dude and he's mad young. You can imagine the improvements this dude is going to be making over the next couple years at just 26. Scary. And I think he makes light work of Kenan Seung. Not to mention, he also's got a reach advantage, which I love here. 3.5 inches in the reach over Kenan Seung. I think he's touching him up from range, ripping him apart with punches and kicks, and he's putting him unconscious. Give me Bedoya by a KO. Next fight on the card, it's Chidi Njokuani versus Michael Oleksiejczuk. I'm sad about this fight here because if you watch the channel consistently and you know, I'm a fan of Chidi Njokuani. But I'm picking Michael Oleksiejczuk. I think he's going to be able to beat Chidi in this fight here. He's better with his boxing, clearly, overall. But he's also a lot better on the inside. Chidi Njokuani is a long guy. He does a decent job at keeping lesser strikers at bay, but I think Oleksiejczuk is going to find ways inside, rip him up with punches, and I also think Oleksiejczuk is going to be the physically stronger guy, being that he was a former light heavyweight. I don't want to say he was like super successful there, but he's got wins at light heavyweight. I think that there's a bit of sting in the punches for Oleksiejczuk, which will make Njokuani hesitant. Trying to kickbox from the outside all night, I think he'll be backed up, and I actually expect Oleksiejczuk to potentially surprise Njokuani, mixing in a bit of wrestling, finding his way on top, and doing a little damage from top position. I feel like Oleksiejczuk is a guy that could be a real problem at middleweight. I know he lost to Caio Baraiho last time out, but that's a clear mismatch. That is an A-tier grappler versus Oleksiejczuk, who's well-rounded, but more dangerous in the striking than anything. Njokuani obviously coming off back-to-back losses. Gregory Rodriguez got him and Albert Duraev got him. I think we have a hard 3 rounds between these two savages with Oleksiejczuk getting his hand raised at the end. I like the youth advantage too. There's a 6-year age difference. That favors Oleksiejczuk, at least in the percentages of like how fighters are normally winning. And then add on top the fact he's got a good amount of UFC experience. He's nasty with the boxing. I think he's going to be pretty solid in this fight. I think he'll take Njokuani to the distance. Like, I do think they go all 3. I'm seeing a 29-28, potential 30-27 type fight for Oleksiejczuk. As far as the odds, Oleksiejczuk, it's even. It's minus 115, Oleksiejczuk to Njokuani at minus 105. It's a pick'ems line in a pretty competitive fight, but one that Oleksiejczuk steals from Njokuani here. Sadly, I'm picking against my guy Chidi Bang Bang, but I'm telling it as I see it. I think Oleksiejczuk has him. Next fight on the card, Toshiomi Kazama versus Garrett Armfield. I'm picking Garrett Armfield to out-grapple Kazama. I know Kazama's pretty good with his jiu-jitsu. He's known for it. He's creative on the ground for sure. But Armfield's strong with his wrestling. I know he lost to David Onama, but I got to take one positive away. On short notice, fighting a guy who he actually lost to before, he was able to land the takedown. And it shows that he's got some wrestling. He's a Killcliff FC fighter, and they're known for real strong wrestling. I think he's going to be able to out-grapple a Kazama here. Stay out of bad spots submission-wise on the ground. Control from top. Get a little bit of ground and pound in. When you start talking about stand-up, Garrett Armfield would be live for a knockout. Kazama, I don't want to say he's chinny per se, but he does have, I guess not back-to-back, but in his last 3 fights, he's got 2 knockout losses. And I think Armfield could hurt him with punches on the feet and potentially stop him here. Has Armfield necessarily showed every damn fight, but he's got knockouts, right? I mean, you look, he's got a sub there, decision there. That was not a split decision. I went back and rewatched that. Holy shit, the dumbest split decision ever. He clearly won that fight by a unanimous decision. And then Stephen Graham, he knocked out pretty clean. Armfield could get a knockout, but the gut inside of me is saying decision for Armfield. So I'll ride with an Armfield unanimous decision over Kazama. Listen, Kazama got brutally knocked out in the road to the UFC finale against Rinya Nakamura, who I think is a monster prospect. Garrett Armfield could potentially sting him up on the feet, but I feel like the wrestling edge is a factor. The more I'm talking about this, the more I'm seeing Armfield knocking him out, though. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go big or go home. I'm going Armfield to TKO him in the second or third round. I think he can hurt him on the feet, and especially if this does turn into a striking match, I think Armfield's going to end up being better. I think he's the physically stronger guy and he hits harder, and the potential question mark around the Kazama chin. Let's go Armfield by knockout. I'll say he does get the finish, actually. Armfield to win the fight is minus 161 to Kazama at plus 124. I like Armfield's chances a lot. He can definitely win a hard-fought decision, or if they are in the striking, I think he could catch Kazama and put his lights out in the second or third. So give me Garrett Armfield for the win in this fight here, and I think he's got his UFC career moving in the positive now, and he's a good Kill Cliff FC prospect. He's solid enough, still a young guy too, with a lot of time to develop. Let's get to the featured prelim. We got Waldo Cortes-Acosta versus Łukasz Brzeski. I'm picking Waldo Cortes-Acosta to knock Łukasz Brzeski out. If you dig back into regional tape, I forget the opponent's name, but Brzeski got knocked out in like 30 seconds. So I think that Waldo Cortes-Acosta, regardless of him not showing the finishing abilities in the UFC necessarily just yet, I think in this fight he can, because he's going to be a lot faster than Brzeski in the striking. On the side of Brzeski, I don't see a significant grappling threat either. I think Waldo is quite durable and poised in the stand-up. He's relaxed in the striking. He moves well. He fights with a nice jab. He has a boxing background as a professional boxer. I think that's a positive factor coming into this fight. I think he's going to be way more accurate than Brzeski too. I feel like I can even say Brzeski's sloppy. He really gets sloppy at times, and he got bullied on the ground last time by Carl Williams. Obviously, Brzeski's UFC debut was against Martin Buday, and a lot of people felt that he could have won that fight. It was damn close. Very different matchup. Buday is much more of a plodding, slow kickboxer, where Waldo Cortes-Acosta is a pretty quick heavyweight that moves real well. And like I said, he's got that pro boxing background. He picks his shots nicely, and I think he's going to find the home run strike here. I'm going Waldo Cortes-Acosta by knockout. He's sleeping Brzeski in this one. As far as Waldo winning, he's a big favorite. He's minus 300 to Brzeski at plus 245. I like Waldo's chances though. 3-1 favorite. I know it's a little bit wide, but I really think Waldo's going to style on Brzeski on the feet. And to see him as way faster, way more technical, and way more dangerous. I'm going with the salsa boy. Where's Waldo? We found him, and he's getting a win in Singapore on Saturday. Let's jump to the main card. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. It's Junior Tafa versus Parker Porter. And I'll tell you guys, I sat on this one for a little bit because I said, damn, I'm looking at Parker Porter tape versus Braxton Smith, and he's getting hit. And Braxton Smith is just a raw brawler. And Porter also has a recent knockout loss in a minute to Justin Tafa, the brother of Junior Tafa. I got to go the Tafa train. I'm going Junior Tafa by knockout. I had faith that he could chin Mohammed Usman. I thought he could potentially pull it off. And obviously he went on to lose that fight, and he's shown to be a pretty mediocre grappler from bottom position and doesn't really have very good get-ups. But Parker Porter is 6 feet tall. He's going to be at a height disadvantage, but somehow he's got a reach disadvantage because Tafa, I guess he just doesn't have the arm length. I also think it could be because he's kind of like a narrow-shouldered guy. I think Tafa's going to hurt him with the hands, though. I think he can knock him out here. Parker Porter has been slept numerous times in his UFC run. If he's able to get takedowns and find his way on top, I think Tafa then would be in trouble because I have major questions about the grappling skill set from the bottom. And I mean, Mohammed Usman was able to get at him, but Usman's such a better athlete than Parker Porter, and he was very fearful on the feet. And it's not like he was easily taking Tafa down early in the fight. He started getting more successful with the takedown coming into the second and third round, and then he's finding his flow. I think Tafa can put heavy hands on Parker Porter and knock him out. I know Tafa lost the debut, but I think Mohammed Usman is a scarier fight than Parker Porter. And also the fact that your brother, being Justin Tafa, already has a knockout win over Porter. I think that's got to aid to the confidence and potentially get in the head of Parker Porter, knowing that your opponent's brother slept you. And Junior Tafa is supposed to be the better striker of the brothers. I got to go with Junior Tafa by knockout. I think he's getting it done here, and he's getting his first UFC win. Odds for the fight, Tafa's a bit of a favorite, minus 157 to Parker Porter at plus 120. I like Tafa to win it. I think he is going to get a KO here as a bit of a favorite. I think he can find the chin. I mean, there's some lines that are near even. I'm seeing minus 120 over on some sites. But I like Tafa to do it. I think he's going to style on him with the hands and put his lights out. I'll go Junior Tafa by knockout in the first round. I think he finds that Parker Porter chin and he gets himself his first UFC win. And he bounces back from the Usman loss. And at the end of the day, 26 at heavyweight is a baby. His opponent, Parker Porter, 12 years older. I think that's a factor too. Tafa will be way faster on the feet with way better reflexes. And he's putting the lights out. He's got good counters, man. I think Tafa will catch Parker Porter trying to come inside. So we'll go Tafa by knockout in the first. Next fight on the card, it's Erin Blanchfield versus Taila Santos. Guys, I'm picking Erin Blanchfield, and I've been riding high on Blanchfield for a while. Let's be honest here. I coined the nickname Erin Blanchfield off before she went out there and then beat the hell out of Jessica Andrade. To get a win over Andrade, I know a lot of people now we're going to look at it and say, oh, but Andrade, look at the losing streak. Okay, but Erin Blanchfield started the downfall. Okay, she was the one that started it off. She got it kicking. I think that Erin Blanchfield is nasty on the floor. She's going to be the stronger girl than Taila Santos. When she gets a hold of Taila Santos, I think Talia's on her back getting beaten up. Blanchfield's grappling is clearly better to me here. Taila Santos is a capable grappler, and she's a well-rounded fighter, and she very, possibly could have got a close decision over Valentina Shevchenko. I mean, she went 5 rounds. She had successful moments in the grappling, but I'll say this. If you look at Shevchenko then losing to Grasso, it's like Shevchenko's time as, the unbeatable princess of the women's flyweight division, or rather the queen of the flyweight division, I think is over. And that's why she lost that fight, and I don't think she is in her prime anymore. I think Erin Blanchfield right now is the next big thing. I think she's the savage on the come up. I expect her to close the gap and take Taila Santos down. But also, don't be surprised when Blanchfield is in Taila Santos' face and cracking her with punches, walking her down with zero respect. And that's what I love about Erin Blanchfield, is she's got that dog in her. She'll eat a couple, but then throw bombs back, get the fight to the floor, and break her opponents. I see her wearing on a Taila Santos, beating her up from top position. I know Taila Santos, though, very capable as far as not getting finished. 19-2 record is pretty great. And, if decisions go other ways for her, she could potentially be 21-0, which is pretty damn insane. I think Erin Blanchfield is going to give her a clear loss here. A first, real no argument type of loss. Not a split decision. It'll be a unanimous decision. Blanchfield, successful with the wrestling, gets it on the cards. Look at Taila Santos in the first round to maybe have a bit of striking success and fend off takedowns. But as we enter the second and third, I think Blanchfield will be quite accurate with her takedowns and her punches and do work from top position. But she'll be tested and brought to the deep waters. She's going to have to be ready to go the distance here. She has before, and she's going to shine. Erin Blanchfield, unanimous decision over Taila Santos. Odds for the fight, Blanchfield minus 150, Santos at around plus 113. I like Erin Blanchfield to win. I think she's pulling it off. It'd be sick if she was able to get a finish. Can you imagine she stops Taila Santos? That would be absolutely insane. But if she goes out there and wins the decision, it'll look great too. And that's what I'm seeing. I think she'll be tested a bit here, but she's going to shine and win the fight. Erin Blanchfield, unanimous decision, and she'll show that she is probably next in line for a title, or at least damn close to it. Next fight on the card, it's Rinya Nakamura versus Fernie Garcia. I'm picking Rinya Nakamura, and I'll tell you guys, this is one of those fights where I can call it like a slight setup. They are using Fernie Garcia as an opponent to build Rinya Nakamura, right? Bantamweight, 31. This is Fernie. 2-fight losing streak in the UFC. He does have some relatively decent boxing, though. He's got some hand speed. He throws solid combos, and he's not an easy guy to finish. He's quite durable, but Rinya Nakamura has vicious knockout power, and he also has a legitimate wrestling base, so I think he has advantages in the striking and in the grappling. This should be a pretty one-sided fight, but it's about how does Rinya Nakamura get it done. I'm going to say he gets the KO. I think he can hurt Fernie Garcia on the feet and then follow up with beating the hell out of him from top position here. I'm going to go Rinya Nakamura knockout. I could see it, first round, but I could also see it in the second or third too. And if Rinya went out there and won a hard-fought decision, I don't think it's the end of the world either, but I really think he can put Fernie's lights out. Fernie had his back taken by Brady Heastan. He got rocked by Journey Newsom. I think Rinya Nakamura can get the stoppage win. So I'm going Nakamura for the KO. I think he's going to look like a bully out there and put everybody on notice at the 135-pound weight class. Just winning the road to the UFC tournament easily, quick knockout win there against Kazama, who's fighting on this card, and then UFC like legit debut now against Fernie Garcia, a Contender Series winner, but 0-2 in the octagon. I think Nakamura styles on him. Knockout win for Nakamura, and the odds are crazy. -650 for Nakamura. Fernie Garcia plus 500. This is a setup fight. We're in Singapore. We're building up an Asian prospect to get excited about in Rinya Nakamura. And I think the UFC is giving him the opportunity of a lifetime. If you can get Fernie out of there, a lot of people are going to be talking because he's notoriously durable. He's a tough Mexican dude. Notoriously, Mexican fighters are very tough. And no difference with Fernie Garcia. But Nakamura, a bit of a monster. I think he get the knockout. You see, I mean, he's got finishes galore over here. He's got submissions too. But what, 4 out of his last 5 wins, all finishes, 7-0 as a pro. I think he can finish Fernie. I'm going to go knockout win for Rinya Nakamura. Next fight on the card, the featured bout of the night. It's Giga Chikadze versus Alex Caceres. I love this matchup. And I'm picking Alex Caceres to win. I have been feeling since it was announced that Alex Caceres is going to end up getting the back of Giga Chikadze and strangling him. I got to ride with that side. That's the initial instinct. And that's what I'm riding with here because I feel as though, yes, Giga Chikadze's kickboxing is off the charts. He flows beautifully on the feet. He strings his punches together well. He is not unbeatable in the stand-up. Calvin Kattar was getting to him and obviously beat him in his last fight. Now he's fighting Alex Caceres, who's a very well-versed MMA fighter and somebody that can definitely shine in the grappling department when he chooses to showcase that skill set. I think it will come quite in handy in this matchup here. I expect from Southpaw Caceres to be rangy from the outside, looking to set up clinch positions and looking to set up takedowns on a Giga Chikadze. Yes, there is a possibility where Giga Chikadze chins Alex Caceres for absolute fact. I mean, the dude is a kickboxing champion, and if Caceres is choosing to strike with him and unable to get any type of control on the ground, or at the very least threaten with the grappling, which will then set up more punches, he'll be in trouble in a pure kickboxing match. It's obvious, but I think that he's going to make it MMA. I think he's going to find Giga Chikadze's back in the second round, and I think he's going to strangle him. It's live throughout 1 to 3. I'll Mystic Mac call in the second. I just think Caceres is the better overall MMA fighter. Giga Chikadze, yes, is an amazing kickboxer, and I mean, if you look at some fights, right? Let's look here. Omar Morales out-kickboxed him, wins. Okay. Beats Jamie Simmons. Dude was not near the Giga Chikadze nor UFC level. Beat Cub Swanson, legend, the game, mad respect, but, you know, primarily known for the stand-up, though he's got some jits. Knocks out Edson Barboza, amazing kickboxer. Loses to Calvin Kattar, a dominant boxing style of fighter in a dogfight. Alex Caceres is a very well-versed MMA fighter, and as of recent, the maybe best overall well-versed MMA fighter that Giga Chikadze has faced off against. I think Alex Caceres finds that back, and I think he gets under the neck. Giga Chikadze is not unbeatable to, unable to be finished. Remember, Austin Springer on the Contender Series strangled him, and you look, Austin Springer got to the UFC, and Alex Caceres fucked up Austin Springer. Now, I'm not using MMA math here. It's just something that was coming to my mind because I remember seeing Springer get destroyed by Caceres and, having that win over Giga. I don't know. I just feel like Giga hasn't fought someone with the tutelage in the grappling like a Caceres in a very long time or maybe ever. And I think that Giga, if he is forced into uncomfortable grappling positions, is going to find himself strangled, man. So I'm going rear naked, strangle Alex Caceres to win the fight by submission. Yes, it's possible he gets caught in the fucking striking if he chooses to sit and kickbox, if he's unable to take Giga Chikadze down. Of course, Giga Chikadze could rip him with a body kick, hurt him, and then hit him with big strikes and knock him unconscious. But I think that Alex Caceres finds a way to get this fight to where he's most comfortable. Plus 200 for Alex Caceres. Give me Alex Caceres. He's an underdog, too. Giga Chikadze at minus 230. Yeah, I like this fight a lot. MMA Lab's also on fire. Sean O'Malley just won the belt. Mario Batista winning, Marcus McGee winning. There's a lot of savages getting wins from that team. They're on fire right now. And I think that Alex Caceres is going to be on fire against Giga Chikadze on Saturday. And he finds a submission win against a really dangerous kickboxer. Go Alex Caceres, Bruce Leroy, win by submission. He pulls it off. Co-main event of the evening. It's a rematch that I didn't know we needed, but now I'm actually excited to see it. It's Anthony Smith versus Ryan Spann. There was bad blood after the first fight. Anthony Smith finished him. He subbed him up. You can see that was the rear naked choke loss, nearly 2 years ago. And it was the last win for Anthony Smith. What I find interesting, though, is putting these two together now, just after how one-sided the first fight seemed to be. I know Ryan Spann has some legitimate knockout power. It's a fact. I mean, he put, Dominic Reyes out, bad, brutal KO. But let's be fair here. Dominic Reyes is not the same fighter that he once was. He seems to have completely dipped out of his prime at a very fast rate after going to war with John Jones. Yes, Ryan Spann got a sick knockout. Yes, he has punching power. He had all those same tools in the first fight with Anthony Smith and he got strangled. Nothing is telling me that something significantly changes here. I know Anthony Smith dealt with a leg injury when he fought Ankalaev and he lost that fight. He lost to Johnny Walker by a decision and it wasn't that long ago. But to be fair, in the fight against Johnny Walker, it seemed like Anthony Smith, almost fell into more of a sparring flow. Walker didn't knock him unconscious. Smith got caught on the outside strike and Ryan Spann got knocked out by Johnny Walker. Something to note too. Anthony Smith already would have win over him. The big red flag would be, is he okay to fight after just losing a bit over a month ago to Johnny Walker? He didn't take any significant injuries. That's why he's jumping right back in there. It's a favorable matchup. He already beat Ryan Spann. Anthony Smith notoriously has a pretty good chin. I think he'll be able to eat some shots from Spann, even if Spann is successful in the striking. And when they go to the ground, Anthony Smith is way better. Ryan Spann is like a 3 or 4 minute burst. That's it. And then after that, he loses fights. He got submitted in his last one by Nikita Krylov, and he's getting submitted here by Anthony Smith. Again, I'm saying it's Anthony Smith win by submission. Ryan Spann is unable to avenge the loss, and I think that as the fight goes longer, as we get past the 3-minute mark, it's going to be all Smith. Could it go on the second? Sure, Ryan Spann might last a bit longer, but every minute after the first 2 minutes, it's favorable towards Anthony Smith because Ryan Spann does his best work getting people out of there earlier. Anthony Smith by sub. Official prediction. And somehow he's an underdog. Plus 120 dog, Anthony Smith to Ryan Spann at minus 140. How clean the first fight went. Is that not on the mind of Ryan Spann? Fuck, if I'm on the ground with this guy, I'm in trouble. Anthony Smith's thinking, this guy's got a burst and that's it. I already finished him in 1 round. And they had bad blood. The bad blood, I guess, is boiling over again this Saturday. Give me Anthony Smith. I got to win him. Plus 120 as a dog. That's crazy to me. I don't even get why he's a dog. At least give it even money. You opened that plus 130. Now I'm seeing the line shift. Ryan Spann minus 140. Anthony Smith minus 104. Lines are shifting. But it's around plus 120 as an Anthony Smith underdog in a fight that he has a dominant win over his opponent. So I'm going Anthony Smith by submission. Again, I think he probably gets another rear naked. I think this fight looks similar to the first one. Anthony Smith, victory in the co-main event, snaps the losing streak, and he beats Ryan Spann here. Let's jump to the main event of the evening. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash the like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. It's Max Holloway versus the Korean zombie Chan Sung Jung. And I'm picking Max Holloway to win. I think that Jung at this point is going to get ripped up in the stand-up. I mean, if you look at Jung, some recent opponents, right? Volkanovski, absolute monster. Respect to him going out there fighting Volk. He gets stopped and he took a lot of damage because he's tough as they come. Brian Ortega beat him and got a clean win over him. Now it's like over 2 years ago. In the middle of it all, 2 years ago, he did beat Dan Ige. So this is kind of like a legendary send-off for the Korean zombie. Max Holloway just beat Arnold Allen. Before that, he loses to Volkanovski. Volkanovski's just got his number. But everybody else is getting cleanly beaten by Max Holloway. And he's winning dominant decisions. I think that the Korean zombie still has a pretty damn solid chin. Volkanovski is just an absolute monsoon. I think Max could bring the volume and potentially stop him in the 4th or 5th round. But something is telling me there's a real shot that Korean zombie goes the full 5 because there's a legit chance this is the last time we see him make the walk. So I'm going to go Max Holloway to win. I'm thinking we're going full 5 and it's 5-0 Max Holloway, but Korean Zombie gives a gutsy effort and loses a very dominant, one-sided decision. Like, it's going to look lopsided. The stats are going to be crazy. Max Holloway is way faster on the feet. He's way more in his prime than Korean Zombie at this point. I don't think Zombie has many advantages anywhere, aside from he does have a little reach advantage, but he's the shorter guy. Max Holloway's faster with the striking from the outside. Holloway's definitely live for like a volume TKO. The accumulation of damage can potentially get Seung Jung out of there. I just think there's a real shot that they end up going the full distance here. But Max Holloway for the win. High confidence call. But I kind of like the idea of potentially like a 4th or 5th round TKO prop. I could even see a doctor's stoppage coming in play here. But just Korean Zombie does not go down. He doesn't quit. He keeps trying. He keeps coming forward. The only way you're getting him out is that spinning elbow like Yair landed on him. And Seung Jung, Korean Zombie, was winning that whole fight until he got caught. So Max Holloway, my pick to win this fight here. And I think it's going to be pretty one-sided, and the odds completely agree. Minus 725 for Holloway. He actually opened up at minus 1,000. The Korean Zombie at plus 525. Holy shit. Let's see what the over sits at. Over 2.5, minus 225. I think it's going over 2.5. I think at the earliest it's out of there in the third. Max Holloway, he's got finishing ability for sure, and he's got great boxing, but he's not a one-shot knockout guy. He's a volume guy. So if he's to get a stoppage, it's in the 4th or 5th. I think 4th, 5th round stoppage or decision. But I guess I'll officially ride with the dominant decision side for Max Holloway in a legendary battle with Korean Zombie. Expect Zombie at some point to try and throw the kitchen sink at him, but just the iron chin does withstand some serious damage. But hey, don't be shocked if Max Holloway does stop him. I mean, a year and 4 months, though, good amount of time for Zombie to recover. If it was like a 4-month turnaround for that one, I'd probably be going Max Holloway by knockout. But I think Zombie's good to give it hell one last time. So we're going Max Holloway for the win in the main event in what's a one-sided fight, and the odds are crazy wide. And Max Holloway just going to keep beating off these other contenders. This is a fun legacy fight, though. Is there 2 legends of the featherweight division that just never faced off with one another? And I think Max Holloway is going to shine on Saturday in Singapore. That is the UFC Singapore card. I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. So make sure you all smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn the post notifications on, and make sure to share that video. Let me know in the comments what you think of the picks. Throw me some of your favorite picks on the card. Let me know if you disagree with me on some marquee matchups, because I'm very curious the people's take. Much love to everybody watching, and if you have nothing to say in those comments, but you just enjoy the content, as always, drop a W in the chat to boost the algorithm for your boy. Thank you guys for tuning in. Much love. I appreciate you all supporting and helping me smash past that 20,000 subscriber mark. More big things to come. I'm looking forward. That 100K plaque is coming, guys. So can't wait for it. Stay tuned. Content every day. Don't miss it. I'll be here. Thank you all for tuning in. Much love, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace, everybody.